Hey guys, for the fact that the movie Masterpiece MPM number 15 Brawl was just announced, now we have a comeback review to one of the most recent figures from Hasbro officially. So here's the Studio Series number 12 Brawl. As you can see in here, for the details, I'm pretty sure that even for the movie Masterpiece, they got a lot of inspiration from these figures right here. Because with just these figures, his size around 7-inch scale, he's quite small but he's also packed with details. At the time that this movie figures came out, we were all surprised that about how good this figure looks at the time, along with other figures that came out around the same time as well. So you can see in here, this guy has the advantage of the movie details, but he also have many disadvantages. The figures have a lot of keyboard part from his vehicle mode, the tank mode. For example, on his arm, we see that those keyboard they cannot be removed and they hinder quite a bit of articulation. He has no finger articulations in here like some of the more modern Studio Series figures like the Studio Series Optimus Prime number 102. They have finger articulation, or the newer leader class Megatron from the Bumblebee movies. That figures also have finger articulation. This one does not. His head articulation is also quite limited. And the worst thing is that he has no ankle tilted, meaning that's really limited in how many poses you can put these guys in. As you can see, we can't really do that many dynamic poses with him. Like if you try, we still can get him into some pose, but without an ankle tilt, this doesn't look very natural. And one of the most eyesore things, and also the hindering facts of this figure is this tail cannon right here. We can remove this or move it anywhere, even sideways or even on the way, just like the old little class figures from 2007. It just got stuck right here, so no matter what you do, it's here. That kind of sucks. He can't even sit down like a normal figures. Like he always gonna have his turret sticking out his ass like that. It's kind of funny, but at the same time, it's not very convenient. But at least for these figures, because of his small scale, his on a pitch joints are actually not loose, so he can hold the pose pretty well. But again, because of the limited articulation that he has, there's not much we can do with him. But still, for the small scale figure, I think it's still enough to get him into some pretty awesome pose. Like this one, I think is pretty good enough as well. For the new movie Masterpiece figures, that seem to even have jaw articulation on the head of the figures, and of course we have ankle tilted, and we would have waist articulation, and I would guess other parts as well. We have finger articulation on that as well. We have battle add damage decoration on the movie Masterpiece figures that's coming out as well, and we also have blast effect for all of his weapon. As I remember from the images, we have 4 blast effects on here, some blast effect up here, and then we even have like a cut off, battle damage, and blast effects on his arm over here after the scenes where his arm was cut off by Ratchet. In overall, this figures is pretty nice. I actually give him some touch up coloring as well, so that's why his colors does not look exactly like some of the figures that you see in stock image for Studio Series Brawl figures. Regarding his scale, I think for the Studio Series figures, one of their most advantage is that scale, the small scale, so that we can collect small figures. So in the previous videos, I also introduced to use this bigger guy over here, which is just a KO upscale version of the Studio Series Brawl figures. So for the bigger guys in here, he has a little more articulation. Like for the waist, he actually have waist articulation, so his waist can be rotated. Then he also have some other part, like the turret is no longer hanging in that position. It's now hanging on one of his arm. As you can see in here, specifically his right arm. And then he also have some other part, like this part became movable. It's no longer stuck like an eyesore over his chest like here. And he, of course, he has finger articulation as well, although he only have 3 fingers instead of a full hand. And then he has this extra sharpness part. It might seem to be a minor part, but to me, it's one of the touch that makes this figure stand out amongst the other one. So here's the scale between those. You can see how much they actually upscale the Studio Series Brawl to make that upscale figures. He's really big. Almost twice the height. Well, not quite twice the height, but almost pretty tall still. So let's do a quick side-by-side comparison, because earlier I mentioned that the Studio Series Brawl, he actually have advantage over the Masterpiece figures or any of the upscale figures because he's more size, so we can collect more figures at the same scale. It would be impossible to collect all of the bigger size figures like this for every single character. But for the smaller Studio Series scale, we definitely can do that. So for some of the comparison, let's do the first one is one of his fellow Decepticon from the first movie, that is Studio Series Barricade. And in this case, actually not the Studio Series number 28 Barricade, but it is the 15th anniversary Barricade that come in the Decepticon pack. And I also have his 3D printed gun. This gun I just bought off from eBay for him to hold. In overall, they scale pretty decent for a small size as well. So Barricade is supposed to be 15 to 16 feet tall, and then Brawl is supposed to be 25 feet tall. So I think for small characters look pretty good. Of course, not gonna be perfect, but here's what they look like together. Then let's go with the next one, with Bone Crusher. Actually, Bone Crusher in the movie, he's supposed to be as tall as Brawl, 25 feet tall. But for Studio Series, for some reason, they just make Brawl way too small. Way too small. But for the movie Masterpiece line, I think the movie Masterpiece Bone Crusher is pretty big. He even scaled well with the line of this big guy right here. So yeah, for the movie Masterpiece Brawl, I would expect that he will be as around the same height as a movie Bone Crusher, and that would be a good scale. Next one, let's move to Decepticon Blackout. So this Studio Series number 8 Blackout, you can see that he's a leader class versus the Studio Series Brawl with the Voyager class, and they actually scale pretty well together as well. So here's Brawl supposed to be 25 feet tall versus Blackout supposed to be 33 feet tall if we account for his height up to this point. So I think that's a really good scale for them to have as well. For this Blackout, he has some extra part, like this part, the weapon here, and then the smaller Gatling gun over here, and then the articulated fingers. Those all come from the DNA Design upgrade kit that I bought for the figures. Show him next to is the Studio Series number 54 Megatron from the Transformer 1 movie. So you notice some differences in here in comparison to the original 54 that you can find on the market. That is this chest reason. It actually come from a KO version made from Bayway just 1 or 2 years ago. So I actually just took the test and then put on the Studio Series 54 figures. The evidence for that is the head is still the head of the original Studio Series number 54 figures. And then I have some extra gun I just bought from eBay, some 3D printed gun. And then the mace weapon. This mace weapon actually comes from the same KO that have his chest. Yeah, so together, Megatron is a little too short for my liking because Megatron's supposed to be 35 feet tall versus Brawl, who's supposed to be 25 feet tall. So there's 10 feet difference in their height, but it's not reflected in here. But oh well, that is the best we can do for Studio Series. Another figures actually interact with Brawl in the movie, that is Studio Series Jazz. So in the movie, as you may remember, Jazz have the scenes where he's climb up onto Brawls on his tank morph and force him to transform to fight with Jazz. And then after he transforms, Jazz will be like standing up here, try to gun down to Brawl and then just kick off one of his turret. That scene was one of the scenes that made me realize how strong Brawl was, like how badass he looked. In the Mission City movie, in the Mission City battle, it actually took 3.5 Autobots plus with some human to actually defeat this Brawl right here. So we have Jazz fighting him, we have Ironhide, we have Ratchet cut off his arm, and then later on we got finished off by Bumblebee, who lost both of his legs due to Starstream. So like 3.5 Autobots have to fight him along with some humans to actually take him off. That's why this figure was so badass back there. I wish I had a Brawl figures when I was younger, and now I finally have a few of them, so that's pretty good. And now that the movie Masterpiece figures for Brawl is coming out, it's really exciting to finally see some most accurate, like movie accurate and articulation accurate figures to be available for this specific guy. Next, let's put him next to 30 series number 49 Bumblebee. 49 Bumblebee. So similarly to Barricade and Jazz, Bumblebee is a little too tall to scale well with Brawl, or Brawl is a little too short. But this is also the current scale, the best scale that we have for this character. Then let's go to the Ratchet. The one and only Ratchet that actually cut off one of his arm. Well, that scene seemed to sting, but poor Brawl, he had to 1v3 3 of the Autobot and then just got ambushed and to cut off one of his arm. But they scale pretty well. I think for Ratchet supposed to be 20 feet tall. For Brawl supposed to be 25 feet tall, so Brawl is a little taller than Ratchet. Actually, he should be even like up here to actually scale well, but this is what we have. Studio Series Ironhide standing next to Brawl. So those two, they actually, in terms of height, they scale really well because Ironhide is supposed to be 22 feet tall versus Brawl, who is supposed to be 25 feet tall. So in here, the scales, is the height at least, actually reflect that. It's kind of different. But then in terms of the bulkiness, I think Brawl should be bulkier in comparison to Ironhide. It's just a pickup truck. This guy is a tank, so he needs to be way beefier. But oh well, the figures, it doesn't really reflect that because even in vehicle mode, these Ironhide figures just have so much more mash in comparison to these Brawl figures. He's so, how to say it, he's so light and empty. So definitely they can do much better with him, and they actually did. So in terms of Study Series figures, Ironhide have a way better figures. But then in terms of Masterpiece figures, Ironhide have some of the worst MPM figures ever made. And then I think Brawl may have one of the best because just from the picture, articulation, and some from some promotional videos where they actually show the figures, show off some of the articulation, he looks so good. So yeah, I'll call it even. Ironhide win for the Study Series one, and then Brawl win for the MPM one. Leader of the Autobot, Study Series Optimus Prime. So this one is also the 15th anniversary version of the Optimus Prime figures. You see that they actually scale really nicely as well. So officially, Brawl should be 25 feet tall, and then Optimus should be a little taller at 28 feet tall. So yes, in this case, Optimus is a little taller than Brawl. Well, he should be a little more taller, but oh well. This is also what we have, but they actually look really nice together. If you just want to display every single character on yourself from some other movie, then I definitely recommend the Studio Series one. You definitely can do that, and then it would be easier for you to make diorama to fit in this small guy and make them look nice versus something like the big Brawl right here. Because if you have big figures like this, after you make the diorama, if you fit him in, try to pose him a little bit, it is already took most of the space, so there's usually not enough spaces to pose more than one figures, unfortunately. But for the smaller scale, the Studio Series, that's what they can do. Multiple figures in one display and they would all look nice and they can all transform. How awesome is that? If they came out when the time the movie was just aired, definitely they would fly off the shelf within just like a matter of a day or something. In overall, this guys, I think definitely the movie Masterpiece MPM 15 Brawl, it seems like he has a lot of base detail getting from this specific Studio Series Brawl right here. And then the articulation, of course, got improved also up on whatever this guy liked. And I think we still don't know about the transformation, like how different the engineering is in comparison to this guy, but they might actually take some inspiration from this Studio Series guy as well. So for me, this Studio Series guy is essentially a mini version of the Masterpiece, just like how the Studio Series barricade, it looks just like a mini version of the MPM barricade. That's how good the Studio Series are for their size. Good luck hunting for this guy if you are interested in collecting the Studio Series figures or the small scale Transformer figures. And if you are interested in the new movie Masterpiece figures MPM 15, good luck hunting for that as well.
Hey, you. Yes, you. Subscribe to our channel. Please, otherwise, Megatron might kill me again. And no, I'm not kidding. He's right there. Hey, Josh. So please, subscribe. I don't want to be back in 2 pieces. Your subscription means a lot to us.